Again, I want to welcome you here today and let you know that I am going to give you time to ask questions. So please jot those down and I'll be happy to take them live after we get through this content. This is a content-only webinar. I'm really excited just to be bringing you the best information that I have to talk about this topic that leaves so many people feeling overwhelmed, feeling anxious, sending ourselves into a shame spiral about why we're bad, about why we're never going to get what we really want, about how we can't become successful because X, Y, and Z, because we can't get this done, or we haven't gotten this done, or we're never going to get this done. These stories that we tell ourselves, which are so powerful, and we believe about ourselves, they are very powerful, but they also don't have to be true. So I want you to remember that today as we go through these things. As we get started, I just want to tell you, I am a person who always has an ongoing to-do list. I have always been a person who loves to-do lists, a to-do list dork. Ever since middle school, I have loved my day timer. I've loved that to-do list. I've loved even more checking things off of that to-do list. And I know I'm not the only one. Some of us really like to be organized and some of us don't. You know, some of us are oriented more around a really spontaneous approach to life, and some of us are really structured. And I have always thought to bring order to the chaos of my life. And so I think the to-do list is one way that I've done that. But at some point in my journey, I realized that no matter how much or how often or how strictly I kept those to-do lists, I wasn't keeping on top of everything I wanted to get done. At the end of every day or the next morning when I look at what I got done the day before, I would always and forever be moving things over to that day's list that didn't get done the day before. And so I wondered what the heck that was about. So this approach to powering through procrastination is really about coming at it from the right angle, coming at it from an angle of energy and of motivation that comes from inside of us rather than a way that feels like pressure and stress and like all of the work that you do and all of the time that you spend is never enough. And that's where I spent a lot of years, just feeling stressed and pressured and like whatever I did, it just was never going to be enough. I never was going to get those things checked off. I never was going to get the most important things done, and I couldn't figure out why. So as I've said in talking about this webinar, this is not another time management seminar. This is about getting really, really clear on why we're doing the things on our list. Because when we approach it from letting our to-do list structure and rule us, we become burned out. We start to really question what the point of all of this is. And when this happened for me, I really started resenting even working for myself. I thought, well, what's the point of this? I'm working so hard. I'm not getting things done. Maybe I should just go back and get a real job. I was even procrastinating on billing, which was ridiculous, right? I mean, hello, that's the way that you stay in business is you bill for your services that you're providing. So I just share those things with you because I want you to know that no matter where you are in your procrastination journey and how much you feel like it has a hold on you, it's possible to turn that around. And I know because I've done it. Having really wrestled with these things for a lot of my life, I now come at them from a completely different approach rather than banging myself over the head and saying you should get more done and here's the system that's going to allow you to do it. As an intuitive person, I've now started to work on these things from the inside out. And that is what has changed everything for me. So I am really excited again to be with you today and to talk about these things. And as questions come up, please write them down and I'll be happy to take them later. the point is that whether you have your own schedule or you don't, if you're like me, then you often put off super important things and you're wondering why and you're left feeling frustrated. You know, the picture that I have of myself in my mind's eye is like coming home from my 9 to 5, knowing that I had a ton of stuff that I could do that would move my side business forward and help me quit sooner. But I would feel so overwhelmed that I would wind up sitting on the couch eating tortilla chips with shredded cheese melted on top in the microwave for dinner and just binging on that and binging on Netflix reruns and just listening to the story in my head and believing the story in my head that told myself how unproductive I was and stressing about that and going down that shame spiral. So that wasn't super helpful. And so if that's you today, just know that I'm here for you, and what we're going to talk about is going to be really, really life-changing, I believe. So let me tell you a little bit about me. That's me. I'm Christine McAlister, and I've been a successful entrepreneur for 11 years now. And over the course of my career as an entrepreneur, I have helped clients generate multiple six figures in sales based on leads that I brought in as an online marketing expert. So I've helped them identify their target clients, their ideal niches, and have designed systems and structures around those things to attract and bring in their ideal clients that result in sales. I've started 4 businesses, and through the course of those, I've always had a passion for helping people to live their dreams, right? Because I realize what an incredible gift it is to be able to take advantage of these opportunities and have this life of freedom, to travel, to do the things I love, to set my own schedule, to work on my own terms, to be my own boss. In my 9-to-5 life, I've been a graduate and undergraduate professor. I've been a career counselor working with people in transition. And I always knew, you can hear the theme of these things, professor, career counselor, online marketing expert. What I've always done is supported people in reaching their dreams and reaching their goals, whether it was with their business or with their degree and their studies or with their job, their 9-to-5 job. So a year ago, what changed for me is I was going along being a successful entrepreneur, and I was expecting my first child, and you may have heard me share my story, but just shortly before my due date, my first child unexpectedly passed away. And then I delivered my stillborn daughter and went through the process of having a baby and planning a funeral and beginning the process of both celebrating that she had, been a part of our lives, but also grieving the fact that her life was over. So as you can imagine, that was and is an incredibly life-changing event for me, and really, really caused soul-searching and questioning, everything about my life, as you do when you're grieving an unexpected and deep loss. What I decided was that my skill set and my passions were now going to be used to help other people get the freedom of time and schedule and travel and living their passions like I did. And that was going to become my business. That was going to become my sole focus, not just the thing that I did on the side. That I was going to become visible about my story, visible about my struggles, visible about what I had to offer the world, and visible about the fact that I'm a serial encourager. And I believe in people so much. I believe in the possibilities. I'm a motivator. I'm a teacher, at heart. And so I channel all those skills and all that energy now to help introverts like myself quickly build a business, finding and serving your ideal clients, your perfect clients, figuring out who those are and finding them and connecting with them, and using your innate gifts so that you can leave your 9-to-5. And not only leave your 9-to-5, but leave your 9-to-5 without a drop in income as well. Because that's what I did. When I finally quit my job, I replaced my income in the first month. And so I had done it in a strategic way, in a way that was right for me and my gifts and my passions. And it has been an incredible journey. And so now the women that I support are on that same journey. They are incredibly intelligent, motivated, just amazing people who have visions for their lives that are different than sitting at a desk every day, different than sitting in a windowless office like I did that used to be a closet every day, different than what society tells them they should be doing, waiting for retirement, waiting for the someday when they could have those opportunities that they dream of now, creating those opportunities now. So that's what I help people do. And that is what Life with Passion is all about. And that is part of why I do what I do. Now that you've heard from me, let's dive into content. So the first thing I want to talk about is, what is procrastination really about? I always like to understand what procrastination is about and explain that before I dive into how do we fix it? Because I think that understanding ourselves can really, really help us solve the problems that we're facing. Understanding ourselves as an intuitive introvert, I always like to study the behavior that I have and why I do what I do, and of course that of other people as well. I find it fascinating. So here's the thing about procrastination. Procrastination is really about unresolved emotions. So that might make sense to you or it might not, but I'm going to explain. Most commonly, these unresolved emotions are things like anxiety, the fear of failure, which is often tied in with perfectionism, and just fear in general. We're overwhelmed by some strong emotion, and that stops us in our tracks from achieving what we want to achieve. Often, what I see is people who procrastinate are extremely capable and extremely intelligent. So much so that it's like we're overthinking, and sort of allowing the emotions that come out of those thoughts to hold us back. We're not just putting our heads down and getting it done. We're thinking about all the what ifs, and we're thinking about the anxiety, and we're thinking about something not being perfect. We're thinking about us not being perfect. We're thinking about what if we fail. And those emotions become overwhelming to us, because the way that our mind works is that fully 85% of our mind is subconscious. This is the part of our mind where our emotions come from. Our rational, analytical minds are only 15%. They only make up 15%. So if we have some strong emotion, whether it be positive or negative, battling with the rational, analytical part of our mind, which is going to win, right? Even if it doesn't make sense, even if we're consciously telling ourselves, I have no idea why I can't get around to it, but I dread it, I don't want to do it. It's that 85% of our minds which are controlling us. So it may be totally unrelated, this emotion that you're feeling, or it may be something that makes a whole lot of sense. You may be able to identify it or not. Like, I don't want to send this email to my coworker or my boss because I want it to be perfect, or I'm afraid of how they're going to respond. Or this project, even though it might be really important, just feels too big and I'm not sure I'm capable of it, or I don't know how I'm going to make it perfect. So I'm just going to, keep putting it off or ignoring it because I never have time to do it perfectly. And I never have time to do it all at once. Or here's one that I have even consciously used, and then I found out it was a procrastination excuse years ago. If I put it off till the last minute, then it isn't perfect, I can just say it was because I didn't give it my best effort or I didn't have time, right? I can blame it on that. I can actually remember thinking this when I was completing my thesis project in grad school. It was a documentary for PBS that totally changed my life. And I had a whole semester to do it. It was actually called Life with Passion, which is where the name of my company comes from, because it was the story I needed to tell at the time about women who were living their life with passion. It was about horses, and it introduced me to the world of horses in a way that I never had been before. It connected me with the people who I got my first horse from. Totally changed my life. So when I was working on Life with Passion, I needed to edit it, and I just kept putting it off because I felt like I didn't have the technical skills. I'd never edited a 30-minute documentary for air on national television before. I didn't know what I was doing. And so I kept putting it off. And by the time I actually sat down to do it, it was crunch time. And I can remember thinking, well, if it doesn't turn out to be perfect, then, it's because I didn't have enough time to make it as good as I could have. Wow, right? That power of it not being perfect really, really controlled me. So it wasn't until I got clear on the things I'm about to share with you that I finally shifted in my ability to get up off the couch and just get it done. Because I would often go read some article about how to get more done, about how to be more productive, and be like, oh, those are really good ideas. I didn't implement them because they weren't coming from a place inside of me that made a lot of sense. So now that you've heard me talk a little bit about my story and about why we have procrastination, what it's really about is some emotions that are way stronger than our rational part of us that says this is what we should do, right? I hope you can let some of the shame and the I'm a bad person for doing this stuff go. Because it's very, very common. It's very, very normal, especially if you're a motivated, intelligent, thinking, high-achieving person. All right, so now that we've talked about what procrastination is really about, I'm going to share with you the number one most important shift that I made that changed everything for me when it came to my to-do list and increasing my overall productivity and satisfaction with what I was able to get done. All right, you ready? Awesome. Here it is. Think about why each task is on your to-do list. Think about why each task is on your to-do list. Because here's the deal. As I mentioned to you before, I am an intuitive, sensitive person. I'm an introvert. On the Myers-Briggs, if you are into that, I'm an INFJ. So for me, it's all about connecting with the deeper meaning of why I'm doing this particular task. So for you, think about all the reasons the things that are on your to-do list are on your to-do list. And really think about what does it mean to get these things done? What does doing each of these things mean and do for you and for your life? So let's look at the opposite ways of approaching this. Some people get up and they look at their to-do list and they're like, ugh, that's exhausting. And you just feel overwhelmed just from looking at it, right? The other way of looking at it, the one I'm talking about, is when you look at what's on that to-do list and think about doing each thing will move you closer to your dreams, to your vision, to your goals for your life. So think about something that maybe you hate doing every year, you dread doing every year. It's about to be tax season, so I think about taxes. That can be a real extreme drudgery. And I think, who wants to take the time to do that unless you're going to get a big refund, right? And my taxes are really complicated, right, with owning multiple businesses and, all the things I'm involved in. It's not as simple as just going online and filing. So it takes a lot of prep, and it takes a lot, even though I work with a CPA, I got to get stuff ready for it. So I could put that off until the last minute. Unless I flip it around and say, this is an opportunity for me to get my stuff done, check it off the list, to stay legal, to prove that I'm organized, to feel productive, and to prove that I'm running legit businesses, and knowing that we're properly taken care of legally, and that I can lay my head on the pillow at night and sleep because I was honest, I wasn't cheating, I was above board, and I have done something, completing my taxes from owning a small business, that most people are terrified of doing. I hear that all the time, scared of taxes. All right, so this is the way that you can flip it. And I'd be happy to take your questions around the idea of how to flip something specific that you have that you're putting off a little bit later. So can you see the difference in that tax example? I want you to remember this quote from T. Harv Eker, that what you focus on expands. So focus on why you're doing something. not on how much you have to do, why you're doing the thing in front of you, why that thing is on your to-do list. Focus on why you're doing it, not the external pressures that make you feel like it's a chore or a bore or a nightmare or a drudgery or, you know, something that you just hate. Focus on your why. So here are some of the whys that I come back to when I think about the things on my to-do list. Number one, to help as many people as possible to believe and know and experience that it's possible to get free and create the lives that they want, just like I have. Everybody has a different picture and vision for their life, but everybody has dreams. And sometimes we don't allow ourselves to dream because we don't believe it's possible. But the reason I'm visible with my story is to show people it's possible. It's possible in a short amount of time for your life to become what you want it to be when you get clear on what you want and you go for those things. And we all have incredible opportunities. Just by being on this webinar, you have access to all the resources that you need to be as successful as you want. And so much of it is an internal struggle. I say all the time that success is between the temples because you are so much more capable than you know you are. But a lot of it is coming back to and getting clear on, why am I doing this task? So I'm going to share a few of these with you. A few more, I should say. I want to be able to pay medical bills, to pay for a surgery, to pay for a hospital stay, to pay for something that can improve someone's quality of life. I want to be able to do that. For somebody who gets sick, I don't want money to be an issue. My desire is to provide and to be generous. I desire to travel and see in person the things I've only dreamed about and read about. And it's been incredible to have that start coming true. I was able to spend 2 weeks in Europe in the fall, and I am headed to Paris in April. And it is not something I would have dreamed of a year ago. But I have gotten clear on what I wanted, and I have taken steps to make it happen. To be able to bless my parents for their sacrifices, to be able to take them on dream trips, to be able to thank them and bless them and honor them for the incredible ways that they have sacrificed and taken care of me in my life. To become financially free and remove money from the things that I worry about. To not worry about money anymore. To have that freedom, the freedom of options. Not that money makes us happy, but it gives us more options. So to have those options and to remove the stress of money. To make my own schedule. To be free and not be controlled by someone else's agenda or clock. To be able to choose my clients, choose who I work with, choose the people I know I can help, choose my team, the people I work with or who work with me. To know that I'm free to follow my intuition, make my own decisions. I've always been pretty independent and opinionated. And so I love being able to have that freedom. To live my big dreams and know there was a reason for them all along. I used to say, why do I have these big dreams if they're not coming true and I can't see a way that they're going to come true? What's wrong with me? Why do I have these things? It makes no sense. I don't say that anymore. And lastly, my whys for my business and what's on my to-do list. To make a big difference in other people's lives, in thousands of people's lives around the world. To become a person who serves people around the world, both people I'll never meet by being able to give freely out of what I've made, and also people I work with one-on-one to help them transform their lives and get the lives of their dreams. These things are so big and they're so important and they're so exciting to me that when I can connect them to things on my to-do list today and see how they're going to move me toward all these whys and these dreams, suddenly I get the energy and motivation to do them. So coming back to your why is the first and most important thing I can recommend that you do. Coming back to why each thing is on your to-do list. And if there's not a good reason it's on your to-do list, then you need to evaluate whether it should be there. And maybe let it go. Give yourself permission to let it go. All right? Number 2, acknowledge you're never going to get it all done. My therapist once told me years ago, your inbox will still be full when you die, Christine. Wisely, this person knew that I came in talking about how there was never enough time and never, getting things checked off, and if only I had more time. I've never forgotten that, and I've shared that a lot because it's true. So, like I said earlier, somewhere along the way, I realized that this is not something where I'm going to look up one day and be like, oh, I finally got it all done. They say that we're all operating at beyond 100% capacity in today's world, and that we all have a list of things that we're never going to get to. That could be really depressing, or we could reframe it and say, okay, then if that's a situation we're all in, and we're never going to totally clear out our to-do list, our schedule, our inbox, then this is about doing the right things, not all the things. Your life is meant to be in service to your dreams. Your actions and your to-do list are meant to be in service to your dreams, not the other way around. Your life is not meant to be in service to your to-do list. So, when you think about it that way, and just acknowledge that you'll never get it all done, you can come back to the things that have the most meaning for your life and focus on those. Connect to that meaning, change your outlook on life. Focus on the positive, and you will find the possibilities out of accomplishing these things, and your life will change. Focusing on what these things are going to allow us to do, these most important things, gives us the motivation and the energy to attack the most important to-dos. And those most important to-dos are the things that are going to change your life the most, move you forward the most toward your goals and dreams, and give you the motivation and the energy to get that stuff done, put in the extra hours, deal with whatever hassles you have to deal with. So focusing on your whys, again, transforms your today and your future and your to-do list. Because if you're never going to get it all done, then what's important is picking the most important things. The most important things. So these to-dos become stepping stones to your future life rather than barriers. Remember that no luck or anything else worthwhile will come your way unless you take some form of action. So not all action, but smart action. All right? Number 3, pick just one thing. Okay? This is an idea that is widely populated by many, many productivity experts. Brian Tracy, who is one of the top ones today in today's society, shares that your eventual success in life depends on your ability to learn to choose your most important task at any given time, and then to complete that task. Mark Twain once said, eat a live frog first thing in the morning, and nothing worse will happen to you the rest of the day. To paraphrase, he says, if it's your job to eat a frog, it's best to do it first thing in the morning, right? Get it done. And if it's your job to eat 2 frogs, it's best to eat the biggest one first. Now, I don't particularly connect with that metaphor, that picture, but Brian Tracy has a book by that name, Eat That Frog. And I recommend it. I recommend it for motivation. I recommend it for practical tips on getting stuff done. Not so much this why that I'm coming back to, but the practical strategies, some of which we're talking about today, on how to get clear on and complete your biggest and most important tasks. Picking just one thing, your most important task, works for the person who loves being organized and the one who doesn't, because it's just about picking one thing. It's about picking that one thing on your to-do list that's going to move you the most forward. All right, so you pick just one thing and then you repeat it. Making this a habit, picking your one thing, repeating it, is the most important thing that, in practical terms, you could take away from this webinar. In terms of what you can turn into a habit, a strategic habit, picking your most important thing. But again, it goes back to your why, because your ability to connect with your why on a daily basis then drives your ability to pick your most important thing. Okay? Your ability to get stuff done and the important stuff done and to create the life that you want depends on your ability to choose and complete your most important task at any given time. So building on that, move your one thing to your schedule. Move your one thing to your schedule. Begin to live by the belief that if it isn't scheduled, it isn't real. Why do I say this? Because when you have a full day of stuff scheduled, meetings, whatever, and then you have your to-do list, where the heck are you going to put your to-dos? When are you going to get them done? They have to be on your schedule, like give them some time. I use Google Calendar, and I have color-coordinated sub-calendars for each category. So my husband and I share one. So we don't have to remember, okay, I've got this going on, I've got this trip, I've got this, I've got that, or we have this going on together. We put it on a calendar where, you know, we can see and coordinate as needed. And then I have a work calendar, I have a personal calendar, I have a calendar for my horses and horse care. I have all of these calendars in order to structure and schedule my time so I could give myself an hour to write that newsletter or to deal with my inbox or whatever I need. And it's kind of like doing a budget in that, not to freak you out about that, but in that, give yourself some grace when you get started. Some things will take a lot more time than you think they will. Some things will take less time. You get to adjust. But the point is, that one thing needs to go on your schedule every day. Okay? Everything goes on it. If it's not scheduled, it's not real. And schedule in time for fun and schedule in all of these things. Schedule in all the stuff you want to do. This is your ability to create the life you want on paper and then live within that. So it gives you freedom because you've given yourself, you've allocated. We all, the most successful of us, the least successful of us, have the same number of hours in the day. And so some of us have just gotten better at using and making the most of those hours and minutes and seconds than others. All right, so start by moving your one thing to your schedule. If it's that important to you to get it done and you know why it's that important, then you put it on your schedule. You give it the time it deserves to get done. And if it's a big thing and you need to break it down and spend a half an hour on it a day, then you do it by putting it on your schedule first. And then repeat this also. Not only pick your one thing, but move it to your schedule and do that every day. I like to block schedule my time at the beginning of the week. And so it's done. So I don't have to do it every day and start feeling behind. And of course, things adjust. And that's the freedom and beauty of running your own business. Stuff comes up, but you have an idea and you're a lot more likely to get the things done that you put on your calendar as opposed to if you try to build getting things done around whatever happens to come your way that day. Okay? Next. The hardest part of getting something done is getting started, getting that initial movement and momentum. So if you're just having a heck of a time getting over the hurdle, I want you to set a timer for 5 minutes and do that one thing for 5 minutes. That's it. See how you feel after that 5 minutes. Your brain, your anxiety, all of those things will thank you. So do it for 5 minutes. And then you're allowed to do it for longer if you want, but you don't have to. Start by working on your most important thing today for 5 minutes. Notice how you feel before and after. 5 minutes. The hardest part is getting started, so this is designed to help you over that hurdle. All right. Number 8, get support. Please get support. Support can look like any number of things. Support can look like working with somebody who is helping you move your life and your business forward, someone that you hire. It can look like asking a friend who you know is going to hold your little feet to the fire and truly ask you if you got something done. Someone that you don't want to let down, that you're going to commit to, and that you are going to ask them to ask you if you did it, even for 5 minutes, and that you can support them in. Super, super, super important to sort of outsource this task in a way and give yourself some accountability. Get support, please. People who have written goals and who share those written goals are several times over more likely to actually get those goals achieved than ones who just kind of make their best intentions and live with those and keep them internal. So write down your one thing and share it with someone else. I do not recommend this be somebody that you live with or are very, very close to, a kind of spouse or partner, because it can complicate the relationship. And you don't need that. What you need is somebody who is just going to go, all right, Christine, I'm asking you, did you get your goals done last week or yesterday? Why or why not? I know they're going to ask me, and so I'm a lot more likely to get them done. So I'm going to use that to my advantage. So get some support. Reach out and ask for help. Somebody else needs it too. Somebody else in your life needs it too. Okay? I have a couple of bonus steps for you, and then we're going to take questions. All right. So to our bonus steps. This might blow your mind, or it might not, but it did blow mine. Take a full day off every week. A full day. Now, many traditions and cultures, and the way I was raised, right, was to take a Sabbath. But then I became an entrepreneur, and I was like, there's no time. I was working a 9 to 5. I was building my business on the side. No time for a day off. About 2 years ago, I decided this was something I really needed to do. I didn't have any idea how I was going to do it, but I decided I need to do it, so I made the commitment. I haven't been perfect at it by any means, but now it is regular. It is on my calendar, of course, and usually on Sundays, unless I'm traveling, I don't work. I do other things that I want to do. I enjoy, I read, I journal, I relax. Which if you're motivated about big goals and your big dreams, it can be hard to relax. I actually have a book called When I Relax, I Feel Guilty, because was kind of true for me in the past. What I realized is relaxing and doing this is really in service to being more productive on other days. And so now I've come to look forward to it rather than stressing about how hard it is. So taking a full day off every week is going to reset your brain in many, many ways to hit it even harder the day after you take it off. In fact, one of my team members, my project manager, said to me after I'd taken a full day off, on the next day, I sent out so many tasks and I was updating so many things. She said, if this is what happens when you take a day off, you need to take a day off more often, because it skyrocketed my productivity the next day because I'd had a break from it. And it wasn't just like that slow grind that we can get into and we never have a break. So give your brain, give your body, give your mind, give your spirit a break. If you don't think you have time, then that is a sure sign that you need to, more than anyone else. Take a full day off a week. It's also going to give you a fresh approach and fresh energy to tackle whatever you've been procrastinating on. And that's how it ties in, because it gives you fresh approach and it kind of resets you. All right. Next, focus on your unique gifts. I did a webinar about this last month. And if you would like a copy of the replay link, you can email me at info@lifewithpassion.com, or you can go to lifewithpassion.com/contact. Send me a message and we'll get it back to you. We'll get you the link. It's not publicly posted, but I said, this webinar was about 5 steps to uncover your unique gifts and build your dream business. So ask yourself, this is the brief overview we'll do today. Ask yourself, is your one thing a part of or acting out of using your unique gifts? Because I believe that it should be. I believe that your one thing is this thing that only you can do and do well and do best, is going to be most powerful if it's in alignment with your unique gifts. So go back to those, focus on those. What is it that you're best at doing? And if you need help with that, we can talk about that on the call as well. Often it's the things that you think everyone's good at because they come so naturally to you that you can't believe it's unique to you. But these are the things that you could do all day long. These are the things that you could get paid to do all day long. And often these are the things that you believe nobody would pay you to do because they come so naturally to you. But again, you're welcome to request that webinar from me or my team, info@lifewithpassion.com. It's got a lot of great content in it. And so you can get it, you can listen to it, and you can see how it fits in. All right. And then lastly, and then I'm going to take questions, come back to your why. Every day I come back to this. Every day I read and journal and write about what I'm moving toward, what I want, what I dream of. I look at my vision board that's right next to my desk that has my goals for the week, for the month, for the year. It has pictures of things that speak to me, things that I want, things that I desire. And during the day, if I notice I'm feeling down or mopey or unmotivated, guess what I do? I go back to my whys. Because those are the things that get me fired up no matter what is going on, to come back to my most important tasks with energy and passion and motivation. So we're bookending these practical tips with this idea of coming back to why. All right. Now I want to open it up for questions. If you are on your phone, you can press *2 to raise your hand, and I will see that you have a question, and I will unmute you. If you would like to email in a question, info@lifewithpassion.com, and we'll be checking that as well. So you can email a question, or you may see an option, depending on how you're connected, to come in and type in a question in the Q&A section. I'd love to take your questions. Again, press *2 to raise your hand, and I will unmute you. Let me give you all a minute to type or get to your keypad and see what questions we have coming in. Let's see. All right, looks like we've got a question here. It says, I have so many things that all seem the same level of importance. How do I decide? Great question. Great question. I believe that often when we're feeling overwhelmed, when we've been procrastinating, that anxiety kind of has us in this fight or flight mode where we feel like everything is exactly the same level of importance. And so it can definitely feel that way, and I totally get that. I would love to help you in this. Again, you are welcome to grab one of these free 30-minute calls with me by emailing or going to my website. And by doing so, we can really drill down and get clear, because often when you talk to somebody who's experienced in helping you sort this stuff out, it becomes really clear. But when it's just inside of your head and you're not practiced at doing this, it can be difficult. But always when I've had this conversation with somebody and they've done the reflection about their whys, and a lot of times it's writing it down and getting it out, journaling and processing, you realize what really rises and bubbles up to the surface as being that one most important thing. So I would say to set aside some time as soon as possible, even if it's 10 minutes, to write down all the things that are in your head and why you would want to do each one of those things. Okay? And that's really, really important, and that's where I would start if it was me. And then, like I said, you're also welcome to grab a free 30-minute bonus call with me just for being here to sort some of this through and to relieve some of that anxiety and make sure you walk away with your first most important thing according to your values. Great question. All right. I see if we have any other questions. I want to show you how you can connect with me if you like. I would love to have you. I have an exclusive community on Facebook for women who are desiring to leave their 9-to-5s and build the life and business of their dreams, working with people they love, figuring all that out quickly, and leaving their 9-to-5 without a drop in income. That's at facebook.com/lifewithpassionsociety. You click on this slide, it should take you there. Or go to Facebook and search for Life with Passion Society and request to be added. The link here, lifewithpassion.com/clarity, is if you're interested in working with me privately. But what we're talking about today is taking advantage of the free offers I have to work with me in this 30-minute one-on-one call, and to really get clear on what it is that you want, how that lines up with your whys, and what's the most important thing that you can do today. I would love to support you in that. All right, I have another question that says, I am not an organized person. I like for things to be spontaneous. I don't know how to make this to-do list and calendar thing work for me. What do you recommend? It's another great question. We all have different preferences on how we want to approach these things, and that's totally fine. I still believe that this works well no matter what your orientation toward time is, if you prefer to be totally spontaneous or you prefer to be super, super structured, or you're somewhere in between. My suggestion to you would be to build in big blocks of time on your schedule then, so that within those times and those times and those blocks should reflect your priorities in life. They say that, show me your checkbook and show me your bank account statement and show me your calendar and I'll show you what's important. No matter what you say, it's where you spend your money and your time, your two most important resources and expiring resources, right? Finite resources. Where you spend those things determines your true values, reveals your true values. So I would recommend creating a schedule that doesn't feel constricting to you. Maybe it's that you only put time rather than scheduling everything. Maybe it's that you only put time for that one most important thing and you get it done early in the day if possible, and then you do whatever you want for the rest of the day, barring any, work obligations or appointments or whatever. You give yourself the freedom to be spontaneous, but that you make sure that it makes it off of your to-do list and onto your calendar if you're serious about getting it done to be in service of your why. And you can email me or connect with me for any questions, follow-up questions. That's a great question. Again, my name is Christine McAlister. I want to thank you for joining me. We'll wrap up a few minutes early here so you can get on with your one thing and getting it on your schedule. I'm really glad you joined me today. Such an important topic and truly, truly life-changing. Please connect with me, lifewithpassion.com/contact. Like I said, this is free and totally open for anybody who's attended this webinar. I've cleared spots on my calendar so that I can get you in no matter what your time zone is. And I'm excited to help and support you in finding this one thing, in getting that done, getting that determined, figuring out how to get it on your schedule, breaking it down into pieces that you can feasibly do, that feel good to you, that feel doable, not overwhelming, and experiencing how good this feels and how congruent you're going to feel, how in line with your values and your whys and your visions and your dreams for your life that you're going to feel by doing just that one thing. My name is Christine McAlister. I am the founder of Life with Passion. I'm really glad you joined me today, and I look forward to getting to know you more and connecting with you in the future. Thank you, and have a wonderful day, a wonderful Friday, and an awesome, awesome weekend. I hope you take that day off too, and I will talk to you soon.